So the iPhone 15 Pro Max is 6 months old, and when it was released in 2023, most people, including myself, said it was the smartphone of the year, and that could easily be just the hype around the phone at the time, or even just smartphone syndrome or new smartphone syndrome that happens at the end of the year. So in this video, I want to talk about my experience with the iPhone 15 Pro Max within the last 6 months and highlight any issues that I have had in that time and you should worry about. Let's get into it. One of the best features of the iPhone 15 Pro Max is not even a feature that is specific to this device. So if you have multiple Apple products, the 15 Pro Max becomes much more powerful and makes your workflow a bit better, especially how it syncs with other devices. For instance, if there's a text or a website link I'd like to have on my phone, but I'm using the Mac Studio instead, all I have to do is just copy said text from the Mac Studio, which goes into the iCloud clipboard, I assume, and I can just paste it on my phone and voila, it is right here. Or, using universal control for my laptop and my Mac Studio, so I only have to use one mouse and one keyboard to control both devices. In the last 6 months, the ecosystem has really helped me with airdropping videos from one device to my iPhone when I want to post on Instagram, amongst other things. I think the ecosystem is a big reason why a lot of people buy an iPhone. It's just user-friendly at its core. And speaking of user-friendly, the biggest selling point of the 15 Pro Max, in my opinion, is how easy it is to use. Now, if you're coming from the Android ecosystem, sure, it would take you a few days, maybe weeks, but it isn't exactly the hardest thing to get used to, especially because iOS is pretty straightforward. Granted, over the last few years, they have added a few features from the Android side like widgets and customizing the home screen, but overall, the operating system is pretty smooth. Performance, on the other hand, has also been consistent over the last 6 months, which is no surprise. Now, whether you're getting this phone to make content or play a ton of mobile games, or you just want to use it for your everyday workflow, it's usually very snappy, and I've not really had any issues performance-wise. The only thing, now I think about it, the biggest thing relating to performance that most people need to be concerned about is its software. There have been a ton of iOS 17 bugs over the last few months, from apps crashing, battery percentage not really showing when I'm charging my phone, unable to pair with AirPods or even my Apple Watch, and so many more. Some may see some of these bugs as minor inconveniences, which they are, but after a while, they pile up very fast. I have to give credit to Apple though. They did send out updates pretty quickly, and some of these updates have fixed some of these issues. And something they also fixed is the battery life. Now, when it comes to the 15 Pro Max, the battery here still holds up pretty well 6 months later. I comfortably get 7 hours of screen on time, sometimes 8, if I'm just mindlessly scrolling on different social media apps. That translates well if you're more of a conservative user. After 6 months, my battery capacity is still at 100%, which is great, but I have seen or heard some of my friends say it went down to 89% or even 93%. 93% is on the average side, as people will use their iPhones for the next 3 to even 7 years if you really want to keep it that long. And I wonder if these issues are internal, is it thermal? I don't really know. Or is it that they charge their phones very differently? I charge my phone once a day with a 67 watt charger, which is generally overkill, since the 15 Pro Max caps off its charging speed at 25 to 27 watts, give or take. Okay, let's talk about the design, because it is one of the most important factors of a phone as you look at it every day. And if you're buying an iPhone in 2024, you already know the kind of design that you're getting. Nothing has changed with the body of the iPhone. It is still the same square-shaped design, but this time the corners are not as sharp as the 14 Pro Max, as they're more rounded off and easier to hold without having any issues. This has also changed to a titanium build, which makes it lighter and arguably stronger. Generally, the phone looks good. It has a recognizable identity, and with that titanium frame, I barely have any scratches on my phone. The display, just like the body of the phone, is similar to the 14 Pro Max, which isn't a bad thing. No, the display is really good. I thought it was great then, I still think it's great now. The biggest highlight for me is how bright it gets. Now, during winter, I couldn't really tell how bright this is because there's no sun. The sky is dark, everything is dark and gloomy and all that stuff. But it is springtime now, the sun is coming out, and the 2000 nits of max brightness are worth having. I can see my display on all apps while I'm outside, and it makes navigation easier. The high refresh rates is still a joy to have, as it makes my phone feel smooth as you go from app to app. The infamous dynamic island is still here, and maybe I'm just one of the few people that actually like it. Now, it is handy for timers or your Uber Eats deliveries, music that I listen to, calls, and many more. Now, I do admit it could be better as it only works for a few apps, but for a drastic change between the 13 Pro and the 14 Pro to the 15 Pro, the dynamic island should be doing way more. I mean, it even has the word dynamic in its name, and to be fair, I don't see anything dynamic about it. Now, I also don't see Apple changing this design for a while, so we are stuck with this till further notice. I think my biggest issue with the 15 Pro Max and its camera is the native camera app. Now, within the native camera app, I wish Apple followed some of the Android phones and gave us a pro camera mode where we can see and adjust the shutter speed or the ISO and many other things. There was heavy marketing on the pro cameras, but they don't give us any pro features. The only way to even control anything on your camera and how far it can go is by downloading the Blackmagic camera app. This infinitely makes the camera more fun to use because you have pro-like controls. With a 48 megapixel lens, a 4K cinematic mode, more zoom options, and many more, the 15 Pro Max had a lot to live up to. The telephoto lens, on the other hand, is very good. I use it frequently, especially in portrait mode. The selfie camera on the iPhone is a hit or miss for me. For some reason, it makes my skin darker than it should be, and it's almost like a one-size-fits-all with its computational photography because all my friends, dark, light skin, have all complained. Now, it is great that the option to use ProRes and ProRAW is available, but I like how the video and pictures look right out the gates, and I don't feel the need to use these options all the time. If I do record or I want to record any video, it is mostly in their new log formats because it is the best way to shoot as it takes in as much detail as possible. I have used this to shoot an entire video on my YouTube channel, so yes, it does come in handy if I do not want to carry or if you don't want to buy an expensive camera with expensive lenses. All things considered, it's a solid camera setup and still the best when you combine both pictures and videos. I don't really have any issues with it, and for the average consumer, this is all you're going to need in terms of camera quality. Ultimately, my experience with the 15 Pro Max has been positive. I've had my ups with the camera, the battery life, the Apple ecosystem, and my overall use, and my downs when it comes to iOS 17 and its many bugs. If you have an iPhone 13 Pro Max and below, and you're looking to upgrade, then the iPhone 15 Pro Max is a solid phone. But that is just one man's opinion, and I'd like to hear yours. Do you think the iPhone 15 Pro Max is worth the hype and worth the money? Comment down below and let me know. Like and subscribe if you got any value from this video. I am trying to get to 30,000 subs at the end of the year. I'm grateful for the platform that you guys have given me. Thank you guys for watching this video. My name again is KJ, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.